Okay, good morning class. So at this point we're looking at the November 2018 paper 2. Okay, we have completed paper 1 at this stage. Right, so we are told that 50 motorists were asked to record the amount of money spent on petrol in 1 week. The following table shows the purchases. So the petrol purchase in the range is from 0 to 50 and from 50 to 100 and so on. The number of motorists in those categories and then you can complete the table. So of course we have 2 plus 7 is 9, 9 plus 4 is 13, 30 plus 13 is 26, then 26 plus 16 is 30 is 42, 42 plus 8 is 50. You all agree with that? This is draw the cumulative frequency polygon, the ogive. Draw the ogive, we need the following points. We need the end point of your class interval, which is 50 and then 2. 109. Then 150 and 13. And 226. 250 and 42. And 350. Okay. This is from the answer book. Okay. Which I printed for you guys. No? So for your x-axis, it's going in increments of 50. So I'm going to make 250, okay? So it's 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. What's the maximum value? 300. Not so? So I can put 300 here. Remember, we always try and make the graph as big as possible. Okay? Your cumulative frequency comes in at 50, so if I make this 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Okay? But going forward, it will be just way to the top. Okay? We'll go over the required value there. Of course, that's now 0. So in the first point, we need to plot 50 and 2. Somebody needs to give us the values. It's 50 and 2. The next one, it's 109. It's just under 10. 150 and 13. So it's midway there, between 10 and 15. 226. This is about 25 there. 250 and 42. Yes. And then 350. People, freehand, not with a ruler. Freehand, we draw the same. Okay. Then you see the minimum value here. We connect, we ground the ogive to that value. In this case, it is 0. Okay. If you mark with the points plotted, and there's a graph of course through it, a mark that for the shape of the graph, that you haven't used the ruler of course, and the mark is for the grounding property of the okay. Many learners mess this up here. People, if this was 25 here, for argument's sake, it won't be 25 because of the class increment. But if this had to be 25 here, then I would have ground this to 25 and not to 0. Okay. Something to note at this point. Yeah, I forgot to say it's grade 11, paper 2, November 2018, St. Susie Girls High School. Okay. Guys okay with this? Right, let's carry on. Let's see what's the next question. Use the curve to determine the interquartile range. Use the curve to determine the interquartile range. People, how do you work out the interquartile range? The interquartile range is going to be Q3 minus Q1. So how many values are here? 50. Not so. There's 50 people that took part in the survey. So 50 times 25% will be 12.5. Not so. So what we do is we take our ruler and we go by 12.5, which between 10 and 15 of course is 12.5. Take our ruler and we go down. So what is that value? Give me a value there that you guys came up with. Mine is between, if that is 100, this would be 125 here. So that is very close to 150, so I can say 145. That's your lower quartile. You all agree with that? Then for the upper quartile, it's 50 multiplied by 3 over 4, or 75 over 100. It's going to give you 37.5. So that was 12.5. 37.5. Again with the ruler, it's there. So it's over 2 to 5. Can you see that? So everybody's values will be out a bit, but of course your value won't be over 250 or under 200. Can you see that? You just go according to your graph and it makes sense with what you have. It will be nice if you put this dotted lines to be a guide to the examiner that's marking your paper. Okay? So that is going to, let's say that is at 235. Now some of you would have had 245, 240, whatever, or 243. It's fine. Okay? So it's 235. So we subtract those two values. So it's 235 minus 145. Gives you 90. So that interquartile range is 90. Calculate the mean amount spent on petrol. The mean. So how do you calculate the mean from a distribution table? You must calculate the midpoints. Is there a standard deviation question? No. So I don't need to program the calculator here to calculate standard deviation as well. If you needed to, then I would have put my frequency on. Okay, in that case. But in this case, you didn't need to calculate the standard deviation. Okay? So I'm not going to go that route. But as I said, if the next question was standard deviation, I would program the calculator in that regard. Okay. So to calculate your mean, we're going to say, okay, we need this here. So what we do is, we work out the class midpoints. This is for question 1.4 and 5. 1.4. Looking at question 1.4. So for the mean, you're going to be the class midpoint. So 0 plus 50 divided by 2 is 25. 50 plus 100 divided by 2 is 75. 125, 175, 225, 275. Okay. There are 18 total, so what we do to calculate your mean, I'm going to say 25 times 2 plus 75 times 7 plus 125 times 4 plus 175 times 13 plus 225 times 16 plus 275 times 8. And that's all over the number in question, which is 80. Is it 80 or 50? Huh? Is it 50? 50. Put that in the calculator. It's 25 times 2 plus 75 times 7 plus 125 times 4 plus 1, 75 times 13 plus 225 times 16 plus 275 times 8. Okay, so it's 19150 over 50, which is 183. Is that correct? So nobody worked this out. Some of you must have worked it out. So there's no memo, so nobody did this, the work. You got it, answer? You just said yes, you got it. Then the next question says 1.5, which class is the modal class? Now the modal class is the class that has the most in. Okay. So if you look at here, there's 2 in that class interval, there's 7, there's 3. So the one that has the most in is that class. Okay. So therefore, the modal class is for x is greater or equal to 200, but less than 250. Okay. That's the answer to 1.5. Okay. Question 2, the question says, determine the mean and the standard deviation of the data. So here we have to program the calculator. Not so. So what we do is we press mode 2 for stat. In my case, it's going to be 3 for stat. Where's mode 3 for stat? The other calculator is 2. Of course, 1 for variance. First variance. Now we enter the data. Okay, so let's enter the data. We say 6 equals 8 equals 9 equals 10 3 times 1, 2, 3, 8 and 11 and 12. Press AC, all clear. Then you press shift. Number 1. Now you'll see on top of number 1 this is stat. Okay, so you press shift. So first AC, shift 1, 4 for variance. 4 for variance. Okay. Then it is 2 for mean or 3 for your standard deviation. Okay, I'm going to go with the mean first. 9,5. Standard deviation, of course, should be fairly small because the range is small. Okay, the values are fairly close to each other. If we shift again 1, 4 for variance, 3 for standard deviation, equals 1,73. Okay. Question 2.2, it says how many of the above data lies within 1 standard deviation of the mean. So calculate within 1 standard deviation of the mean. Take this off here. Okay. So to set up this range, I say your mean minus your standard deviation, as well as your mean plus your standard deviation. So this is the range of the data. Okay. So your mean comes in at 9.5 minus 1,73 gives you 7.77. The other end The one must be plus 11,23. If they had asked how many of the above data lies within 2 standard deviations of the mean, then I would have multiplied the standard deviation by 2 as well. Okay? But that was not the question. And likewise, if they ask you for 3 standard deviations, you just multiply the mean by the standard deviation by 3, and you get the range as well. Okay? So the question says again, how many of the above lies within 1 standard deviation of the mean? So we count how many values lies inside this range. So of course 6 is outside, 8, 9, 10, 11 is inside. So how many lies inside? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 values or players, whatever this data represents, lies within 1 standard deviation of the mean. Okay. Then ask you what percentage lies within 1 standard deviation of the mean. It would have been 6 over 8 times 100. Whereas how many values lies above 1 standard deviation of the mean? I would have then just said 1 out of 8. Okay, you guys understand? And that's how we count. 2.3 says, draw a box and whisker plot for this data. I think I cut, no I didn't. So let's look at the box and whisker diagram quickly. Of course we need the values. So it's going from 6 to 12. It's now 2.3. So of course you need the scale first. Okay? So there you go. It's 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Okay, so we can go with 1. So it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Normally I just go above and the unit below. Okay? So a 5-number summary consists of the lowest value, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, and the maximum value or the highest value. The lowest value is 6, the highest value is 12. You don't have to list it. So there are 8 numbers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2 numbers in the middle, so it's 10. 10 plus 10 is 20 divided by 2 is 10. So the one form part of the top set and one form part of the bottom set. Okay? If it's an odd amount of numbers, I will cross it out. So for 4 numbers, those 2 numbers are in the middle, which is also your quartile 1. 8 plus 9 divided by 2 is 8.5. Whilst your quartile 3 is going to be 10 and 11, which is 10.5. Okay. So the lowest value gets a dot, which is 6. The highest value gets a dot at 12. Quartile 2 gets a stroke at 10. Quartile 3 is at 10.5, which is just above or midway between 10 and 11. And the lower quartile, which is 8.5. Also note that I write the values on top. Okay, you don't have to again. However, it's just to show that you know what you're doing. Okay. Then is this data, and I think the next question is this data skewed to the, it is positively, symmetrical or negatively skewed? As you can see here, that is your lopsidedness. No? That is over 4 units there, while that is over 2. So of course the data is skewed to the left, which is also negatively skewed. Okay. If it was evenly spaced with your distance between the median and your lower quartile and the upper quartile as well, the data would then be symmetrical. Okay, which is basically a good distribution of data. Okay, or evenly distributed in case of data. Given in question 3.1, in the diagram A, which is 4 and 3, B, which is 2 and 7, C, which is -2 and 5, and D, 0 and 1 are 4 points in the Cartesian plane. The first question says, show that BD BD is equal to CA. So what does that mean? I must use what must I use here? Distance formula. So BC is going to be the square root of 2 minus 0 squared plus, the formula is BC is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay? So it's 2 minus 0 squared plus 7 minus 1 squared. It's going to be the square root of 2 squared. I can just write square root of 2 squared plus 6 squared. They give you 2 root 10. And then for CA, same formula. So it's going to be negative 2 minus 4 squared, which is 6, negative 6 squared, and 5 minus 3 squared, which is 2 squared. Punch that in, I should get 2 root 10. So what do you notice here? Yes, Michael?
So can you do the
diagonals? Is that draw it in?
Yeah,
I am calculating the diagonals, is the length of the diagonals. Is that what you're asking?
No, I mean I use I think it's the midpoint, because they're the same midpoint.
You see, what did I say here? It says that show that BD is equal to CA. What does that mean? The length of BC is equal to the length of CA. It's referring to distance. Unless the question says, show that BD is bisecting CA, or the two diagonals are bisecting each other, then that is what you will be doing. Okay. Yes, Michael? BC, so it must be BD. Okay, thank you. Anything else? No? So that gives you 2 root 10. Now, under what condition will the two what's name be equal? The two diagonals. There are two quadrilaterals where that is the case. The squares and a rectangle. There's the two shapes where the diagonals are equal in. Okay. Now I'm going to take this off as I need the space. Then it says calculate the coordinates of M, the midpoint of BD. So now they are asking you to work out that midpoint. Can you see? So we say 3.1.2. So M is going to be x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. So that is M. It's going to be 2 plus 0 over 2, 7 plus 1 over 2. So M is going to be 1 and 4. Okay. Let's take it off. That's what you owed me the last time. I'm joking. Come sit. Yeah. Alright, so the next question says prove that AC is perpendicular to BD. So how do we do that? By working out the gradient of AC and the gradient of BD. You all agree with that? So let's work out the gradient of AC. The gradient of AC is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So AC is going to be 4 minus 5. What? What's short? Okay, so it's going to be AC. So it's 4 minus AC. I think I made a mistake with it, no? Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be 5 minus 3 over minus 2 minus 4. So that gradient works out to be 2 over minus 6, which is negative a third. And I work out the gradient of BD, which is the same formula, but it's going to be 7 minus 1 over 2 minus 0, which is 6 over 2, which is 3. Now this is not enough. I must end it off properly. Okay, so I say since the gradient of AC times the gradient of BD is equal to negative a third times 3, which is equal to negative 1. Therefore, AC is perpendicular to BD. Okay. So that's perpendicular, then all of those angles are. So there are 3 shapes where the diagonals are perpendicular. What are the 3 shapes? Or 3 quads, sorry. What are the 3 quads where the diagonals are perpendicular? Kite, yes. Square. And the rhombus. So what type of shape is this? Square. There has to be a square. Why? So it satisfies the fact that the diagonals are equal as well as the diagonals are perpendicular. Can you see that, people? So it's an overlap there. Then the question says 3.1.4, prove that A, M and C are collinear if M is 1 and 4. A, M and C are collinear. So if that is collinear, what does that mean? What does that mean? Lies on the same line. Not so. So if points lies on the same line, that means to say that the gradients are the same. Not so. So you work out the gradient of CA, but that we know already. Not so. The gradient of CA we just worked out. That is negative a third. Is that correct? So that is negative a third. So I just write that down. Now we'll work out the gradient of CM or the gradient of MA or AF. You guys understand? So I'm going with CM. So it's going to be 4 minus 5 over 4 minus 5 over 1 minus minus 2. So that's going to give you negative 1 over 3. Can you see it's the same? So since the gradient of CA is equal to the gradient of CM, which is equal to negative a third. Therefore, A, M and C are collinear. Lines up. Those points are collinear. Which means to say lines on the same line. Okay. Any confusion here? In 5.1.2, 3.1.5, state which type of special parallelogram is this, and we said it's a square. Okay, it's a square. 3.2. In question 3.2, we are told that the equation of straight line EF is y is equal to negative 3 over 2x plus 2. For which values of r will the straight line GH? For which values of r will the straight line GH with equation 3x plus ry equals negative 2r not equal to 0 be parallel to EF? People, if lines are parallel, what do we know? We know that gradients are the same. So what is the gradient of EF? Negative 1 over 2. Sorry, 3 over 2. Negative 3 over 2. Okay? So, if you're looking at the line GH, is that in standard form? Is that in the form of y equals mx plus c? No. So we can't draw the gradient as it stands. Can you see that? So we take this 3x over. It's ry is equal to negative 3x minus 2 divided by r. So So negative 3 over Rx minus 2 over R. So remember that the gradients must be the same. So therefore, negative 3 over 2 is equal to negative 3 over R. If I cross multiply all of those things, R will be 2. Can you see that? So that's number 1. The second part of the question says, for which values of R will the straight line GH with equation 3x plus RY equals negative 2 cut EF at the point negative 3 and 13 over 2. What does that mean? That's mean to say you got EF here cutting GH at this point of negative 3 and 13 over 2. That's basically what it says. So it's actually the point of intersection. So what do I do is I substitute negative 3 and 13 over 2 into GH, the equation of GH. So again, that's a x and a y. So you've got 3 times x, which is negative 3, plus ry, which is 13 over 2, is equal to negative 2. Now looking at that equation there. So 13 over 2r is equal to, that gives you negative 9. So negative 2 plus 9 is 7. I divide both sides by 13 over 2, I'm going to get 14 over 30. Okay? Look at question 4. In question 4, we are told that P, which is 5 and 8, is a point of the Cartesian plane. PT intersect the x-axis at T, and TP is perpendicular to RP. Show that the coordinates of T, which is negative 3 and 0, okay, if I show that the coordinates of T, which is going to be negative 3 and 0, if PTR is 45. PTR. So if this is 45 degrees, that is also 45 degrees. Not so. Why? Because the sum of triangles, which means to say that those lengths are equal. Okay. So what we do is we now drop this P perpendicular there. Not so. So it's an isosceles triangle. So what will this coordinate be? Huh? 5 and 0. So what is the length of this line? No, this line. That is 5. From there to this 5. From there to this? Not from there, it's actually from that point, the center. Not so? Okay. So you see that is 8. But if this is a 45 degree triangle here, that was 45, no? That's 45. So that is also 45. This angle is 45. Okay, which means to say that T from there to there must also be 8 units. Not so? So therefore, T, if I go 5 minus 8 is going to be negative 3. And how did we mark this question? I marked it according to the markings on the diagram. Can you see that? Then the next question is, hence determine the equation of PR. Equation of PR. So as you can see, this is your alpha angle here. So then what's the size of that alpha angle? 135 is the angle on the straight line. But we know that the gradient is going to be tan of 135, which is minus 1. Okay? So y is equal to minus x plus c. Of course, you substitute p, because that p is the only point known to us that's lying on the line, which is 5 and 8. That's a x and a y. So 8 is equal to negative 5 plus c. Gives you an answer of 13. Y is equal to negative x plus 13. And this is determine alpha. the angle of inclination of line PR. Alpha is 135. I think that I asked this one first before that. No, I worked out the wrong one. No, it's alright. When I set this question up, I was actually meant to have asked. I should have asked for PT. Can you see that? Because I got no tick. That's why it says hence here. That was my idea problem. Okay? So first, because it says hence, so normally if I say hence, I'm going to use a previous calculation. Not so. But that 45 degrees is also coming from your previous calculation, but okay. That's what I was probably trying to. If that was the order I meant it to be, that is what I actually have asked. Or meant to have asked. Okay. Let's just leave it like that for now. That is oversight from my side. Okay. People, question 5. The entire question must be answered without the use of a calculator unless otherwise stated. Some trigonometry. So given that 5 tan theta plus 12 is equal to 0 and cos is less than 0. Right. So firstly I'm going to get tan of theta on its own. So tan of theta is equal to negative 12 over 5. So what does this tell us? This tells us that tan is negative. In which quadrant is tan negative? Quadrant 2 and 3, 4. In cos of 0, cos of theta is less than 0. What does that mean? Cos is negative. Which quadrant is cos negative? Second and third. So which quadrant are we going to draw in? Huh? Second quadrant. Why? Because that satisfies both. So there is my second quadrant. That's your theta angle. Tan stands for what? Opposite over adjacent. My opposite is 12, my adjacent is 5. So I was say, okay, the 5 is that on the positive or negative part of the x-axis? Negative. So the negative goes there, and of course the 12 is positive. Okay. Remember, if the negative is on top there, it's the same as saying that, or is it the same as saying 12 over negative? That's all the same. Okay. So we must, according to the diagram, see where that negative belongs. Okay. Sometimes there's no negative. Then both is actually negative. Why? Because a negative divided by negative is a positive. Okay. So how do I get the hypotenuse here? Pythagoras. So 12 squared plus negative 5 squared is equal to your hypotenuse side squared. So that's going to give you 169. So your hypotenuse works out to be 30. Okay. So the question says, what is cos of theta? Cos is adjacent, so that's my reference now. Adjacent is negative 5 over 30. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Then the question says, next one says 5.1.2 sine of 180 plus theta. So first I must apply my reduction formula. Can you see that? So 180 plus theta takes you to which quadrant? All stations to clear my 180 plus theta is in which quadrant? Third quadrant. Is sine positive or negative? Huh? Negative. So it's negative sine theta. So it's negative sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So the answer is negative 12 over 30. The next question says, use a calculator. Now you must use a calculator. To calculate the value of tan 3 theta minus 40 correct to 1 decimal place. So firstly, I first need to work out what theta is. How do I work out theta? I say sine of theta, this is now 5.1.3. Sine of theta equals 12 over negative 5. So my reference theta is arc sine of 12 over 5. So arc sine of 12 over 5. That gives me 12 over 13, sorry. Opposite over hypotenuse is going to give you 67,38. So how do we get in the second quadrant? Therefore theta is 180 minus 67,38. Gives you 112.62. Okay. Have I answered the question? No. Let's say therefore tan of 3 times 112.62 minus 40 degrees. Tan 3 answer minus 40. We give you negative 1,9. Okay. Any confusion there? The next question says, simplify the following, simplify to a single trigoration. So again, this is a reduction here. So it's all stations to Claremont. 360 minus takes you to quadrant 4. Sign positive and negative in quadrant 4. Negative. So negative sign of A. Times. Now this is A minus 90. The angle minus 90 degrees takes you to quadrant 4. But cos is positive, although it changes the sign of A. Cos is positive in quadrant. That's how you have the goal, the negative kind of goal. No? You want to work with the positive angles. And what we do is we say cos of A minus 90. What I do is I add 360. It then gives me cos of 270 minus 90 plus 360 is 270 plus angle A. Now that's your 270. So remember, 270 plus takes you to the fourth quadrant. Cos is positive in the fourth quadrant. Although it changes to sine. Remember, when you're busy with 90 and 270, the cover ratio kicks in, okay? Sine becomes cos, cos becomes sine, and tan becomes 1 over 10. Okay? Okay. Yes, talk? Somebody ask you a question? No? Right, so sine squared A, but I know minus 1. I know that 1 minus sine squared A is equal to cos squared A. Not so? But that's the other way around. So if I swap this around, sine squared A minus 1, then it's equal to negative cos squared A. Okay? Otherwise, we could have replaced sine squared with 1 minus cos squared A minus 1, which in turn still give you negative cos squared A dt. Okay. And the program cut out again. Okay, so negative divided by negative is positive, not so? So that's going to give you sine squared A over cos squared A. And what's sine over cos? Tan. So sine squared A over cos squared A is tan squared A. Okay. carry on with our lives. Next question says evaluate. You could have said calculate, you could have said determine, you could have said simplify. It all means the same. Okay. Sine 600. So firstly we take off 360 from that. So they give you 600 minus 360. That gives you an answer of 240. So 240 degrees in which quadrant? All stations to clear one. In the third quadrant. So it's going to be sine 180 plus 60. Now that angle is negative 200. No, sorry, negative 120. We just pull this down a bit. So that's negative 120. So what do? I add 360 to it. So I say negative 120 plus 360. Remember, if I add or subtract 360, I don't change the value of anything. Okay? So that is going to again be 240, which is tan 180 plus 60 minus cos squared 25, which is going to be cos squared 180 plus 45 degrees. Okay, correct? Which now gives us 180 plus is negative sine 60 times tan of 60 minus, now 180 plus 45 is in the third quadrant. Cos is negative, but because of the square it remains positive. So this deals with your special angles. That is 30, 60. 1, 2, root 3. Sine of 60 is negative, root 3 over 2. Tan of 60 is opposite over adjacent, so it's going to be root 3 over 1. Minus tan over sine, cos of 45 is your isosceles triangle, so it's 1, 1 root 2. Is 1 over root 2 squared. It's going to be negative 3 over 2 minus 1 over 2, which is negative 2. Is that correct? Okay. People, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll conclude this paper hopefully tomorrow. Good morning, class.